This is Now on Sunday. You may remember that we used to be called Sunday Morning Live with me, Damian Calmet. However, now that I am going to be part of the Now Network, which is a television network on the East Coast, we call it Now on Sunday, so it can air on the Now Network, and I can also post it on the Facebook network. It's been a 6 weeks or maybe 2 months since I've been on. Today I actually have a live audience, which is something that I don't usually have, so it's going to be a little bit different. But a lot of reasons that I took time off of Facebook and social media. One was that I know I'm a very controversial person, and I know that the things that I say cause you to think, and I know that some of the things that I say that you get pissed off about, okay? In April of this last year, on Facebook, I actually wrote that I believed that we would have 250,000 people die in the United States by Thanksgiving due to the mishandling of the coronavirus pandemic. And would you believe that I posted it and I took it down within 5 minutes, because within 5 minutes I got the most hateful emails, the most hateful responses, and people said, you need to be taken off of Facebook and banned from Facebook for what you're saying. So I thought, it's time to begin to focus on something different. Remember 2019, we're celebrating New Year's Eve, and everybody's all excited. 2020, here we come. Yeah, 2020 has been a year, all right. Some of you have lost your job. Some of you, you've lost your home. Some of you have lost a loved one from this pandemic. Some of you have no income. You don't know what to do. We're fed a bunch of stuff that say things are going to get better. Can I be honest with you? Don't drink the Kool-Aid. We're in for some very dark times to come. We're in for some very dark times financially to come. But in the midst of that, I want you to know something. I'm not talking about religion now. That God can make a way where there seems no way. Today we're talking about beliefs, things that we believe in. We're going to talk about limiting beliefs, beliefs that limit us from being and doing all that we can be. So what are beliefs? Beliefs are conditioned perceptions that are built around old memories, some of pain and some of pleasure. They are conditioned perceptions. Doesn't mean that they're real. Beliefs are really not reality. We make them reality within our body. These memories are based on how we have interpreted and emotionalized our experiences over time throughout our life, and have collected certain facts, certain evidence, certain references to help us form our idea of that reality. And over our lifetime, these beliefs have been ingrained into our nervous system due to a repeat situation over and over and over and over until it becomes a truthful legitimacy for us. But remember I said beliefs are not reality? Let me give you an example of this. Remember when everybody thought the earth was flat? And if you would go to court, you'd swear the earth is flat. Then in 1610, Galileo came along, and with his scientific and his astronomy and all these scientific things he knew, he proved that the earth was round and that the earth was not the center of the universe. So that belief was a faulty belief that everybody believed to be true. Now, during the last 7 months, I've been reading a lot, thinking a lot, praying a lot, writing a lot, and I'm very concerned about the Black Lives Matter. And I'm very concerned about how the church affects our lives. Can I be honest again with you? The Christian evangelical church today is what the Pharisees were to Jesus' day. Period. They have become a large political force. When the Church of England came over, the Anglican Church, it was an institution that said that you cannot enslave your brothers and sisters. But the Anglican Church and the Virginia General Council Assembly decided that they would write into law traditions that would bound their black brothers and sisters to perpetual slavery. While the black brothers and sisters could be free in their spirit, they had to know that God created them lesser than white people, and they had to serve in a form of a servitude. That's a limiting belief. But that is a belief that in the 1500s, 1700s, 1600s, and still many of it prevails today, that unless you're a white superiority, that anything other than that is less. Let me say something to you today. We cannot change our behaviors until our consciousness has changed. We cannot change our behaviors until we are changed. You cannot give what you do not have to give. So these limiting beliefs, this should be real easy for a minute, okay? I'm not good enough to do this or that. Oh, I don't deserve to be successful in such and such. You know, I'm a failure. Oh, you know, I'm the middle child, so I'm not as good as my older brother. I'm not as talented. Oh, you know, my sister, she's a recording artist, but I don't sing as good as she does. Your past holds the perfect pathway to what you can choose to stand for now. Are we not all looking for a cause to stand for? Are we not all warriors in disguise? Have we forgotten who we are through our mindless distractions? All great causes emerge from past experience, past failures, past tragedies, past injustices, past lessons. I want you to know something. We all hold the seeds of something worth living and fighting for inside of us. It is our limiting beliefs that are keeping us from being all that we can be. Your beliefs are the core of who you are. Believe it or not, they influence every aspect of your life in every conceivable way. Some of you know my story, and you know that as a young child that I was, my mother poured hot grease on my head, and I ducked and it went on my back, and I ended up in the hospital. And as I lay in the hospital bed at 3 years old, I said out loud to myself, only one in the room, I'll be good. Whatever they want me to do and be, I'll do and be. I'll be good. And my belief began to be that if I didn't do and be what people wanted me to do and be, that something worse than being burnt would happen to me. Limiting belief. Can you imagine growing up and you feel different? You're a man and you attracted to men, and all of a sudden your religious church, not God, because God is love. That's one thing. God is love, period. And God loves and creates. That's all God does, is love and creates. Any judgment, any guilt, any of these other schisms that come, that is a religious schism. That is not a God. I mean, let's be real here, right? If I create you in the likeness of who I am, which is love, and I give you the power to be that love, and I give you a free will, and then I'm going to smack you like a fly with a fly swatter if you don't do what I say? That makes absolutely no sense. But this God who will make a way even in the wilderness, who will make a way even through rough times, may not be like what you think it needs to be like, but will be there to always bring you into God's self. Not to spank you, not to swat you, not to control you, not to dominate you, but for you to be the extension of who God is. Now, Matthew 5:14 is an interesting scripture. This is what Jesus said. Can I digress just a minute about Jesus? I did a recent, not interview, but a consensus of people's opinions. And I asked a little over 100 people, I said, can you tell me what God looks like to you? 99% of the people said that God was white. 99%. This was Latin American people, African American people, or white people, Korean people. And I just listened. And I said, so what did Jesus look like? Oh, he had a kind of blondish brown hair and blue eyes. You see, the one thing we really know, and the Bible teaches us, is that God is spirit. Spirit does not have a color. Religion has a color. When you walk into a African American church and there's a white Jesus hanging on the wall, what are we teaching people? That we're still serving a white master. Instead of leaning into a spiritual element like we need to. Your beliefs essentially influence 95% of the decisions that you make. The labels you give yourself, the limitations you put on yourself, the expectations you have of yourself are all built upon your belief systems. The amount of emotion, the time, the energy, the thought you have invested in these systems over a lifetime make them virtually indestructible. They're stuck in there. So how do we get rid of it? It's a good question. Many of you know that I've worked with addiction and recovery. I've had to stop going to 12-step meetings. Because when I go, I hear people say, hi, my name is John and I'm an addict. Hi, my name is Susie and I'm an addict. Do you understand that what you focus on expands? I am at the point now that I am not going to deal with any more addicts. Because the more you focus on being an addict, you're on the road to addiction and relapse. Addiction and relapse. Addiction and relapse. Faulty belief system. The big book says, we have recovered. And people that I have dealt with over the years, I try to get them to look and to alter their language to say, my name is so-and-so, my name is Damien, and I am a recovering addict. The emphasis on the recovery. Now, you that might need a life coach, that's what I do too. I'm all in if you want to be on the road to recovery. I'm all in if you want to alter your language to match this belief system that you're on the road to recovery. I'm all in if you need help on learning new habits and new routines that help support your new belief. But I'm not all in on being on the merry-go-round, going over and over and over and creating the same old shit. And that's what we've done in our lives. 2020, some of you have taken it and you've repurposed yourself. You've reinvented yourself. You've really taken a look at yourself. Some of you have taken it and you've rolled in the crap, and they're still rolling in the crap. Because even though God did not create all of this, that God can use this as a time for you to take to perhaps leave the marriage that you should have not been in the first place, that you're unhappy in. You know the one I'm talking about? You know, the guys that are sucking dick in the afternoon before they come home to the wife at night. Maybe it's time you have a conversation and get real. In the time that we live in right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get radically honest with where we're at in our world. So, what about that job that you don't like? That job that left you. Now it's time to see what is your passion. Take your gift and your passion and you can begin to expand that as an income. What about you guys that have brick and mortar stores that you've been losing money for a long time? Okay? And because of your ego, you've kept it open, kept it going. And you've blamed this, that, and the other thing on the COVID and on the economy. What would happen if you really took a look at it and you said, I need to repurpose, I need to refocus. I need to see what I'm really about. I'm going to be a warrior and I'm going to live my best life now. Now, during this talk, by now you should have been able to identify some limiting beliefs that you're holding in your life. And that's good. But it's interesting because most people just stop there. They say, oh yeah, this is what I've been doing, and they stop there. But you can't just go through the process and recognize what it is and hope that it's going to change and your mind's going to change. Whenever you have a high level of emotion invested in something, it creates a barrier of change. You must open to possibilities. You must welcome new perspectives. You must accept alternative viewpoints. So let me ask you to ask yourself some questions. In creating the life you want, creating the belief you want, what kind of person would I ideally like to become? What is it specifically I would like to change. Some of you need to downsize your house. You're stressed out on the mortgages. You're not created to live with all this anxiety. Or if you're not going to downsize your house, you need to start taking in roomers. And that's a hard one too. It's time that the husbands and the wives and the partners got together and communicated and became one to discuss what they're going to be doing with their family. So the next one is, what specific beliefs are not working for me? And then, let's go to this one. I have always believed this, and why? What habits and what rituals, what routines could help you strengthen a new belief that you're all of, that you can be? I want you to look at these things, because what you focus on does expand. If you focus on loss, the loss expands and keeps on expanding. Pretty soon the mental health issues that we have keep expanding. But if you can focus on what it is that we have and let that expand, focus on, do you know, Viktor Frankl, in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, Viktor Frankl was in Auschwitz concentration camp. And if you read that book, you'll learn how to have peace in the midst of a storm. You'll learn how to have peace in the midst of dire circumstances. And if any time we needed to have inner peace, and I'm not talking about religion, and I'm not against religion per se, I just wish religion would get with it and become a godness awareness rather than a political awareness with a political agenda. Because God awareness comes from love, political agenda doesn't. God awareness says, I love you, so I'm not going to be kicking in your window. I'm not going to be putting my foot on your neck. I'm not going to be treating you like crap. Religious says, like they did in the Anglican Church, we're going to keep you bound. We're going to be superior. We're going to rule over you, whether you like it or not. I've talked a long time today. I don't know when my next now on Sunday is going to be. It could be next Sunday. These go to the East Coast after I do them here, and they do what they're going to do with them. I could be too much for that network, but the one thing I do know, kindness is the language the deaf can hear. Kindness is the language the blind can see. Be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And be kind to others. We're all part of one another.